Good morning. My name is Peter Rulon. I'm an instructor at Coastal Carolina Community College in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Today I want to show you what I think is a kind of neat technique for doing smoke photography, but with a twist. We want to introduce color into the smoke plume. And I don't want to do that in Photoshop. I want to do it in the studio. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy this experience and go out and try it out, and if you get some successful results, how about you post them below? We look forward to that. Now what I'm going to do is start with a camera. I'm using a Canon 60D. I really don't think the camera manufacturer matters. You do want as fast a lens as you can get because you really want a shutter speed that's a minimum of 150th of a second. I really like to shoot 200 or 250th of a second. I happen to own a Nifty 50. It's a 1.4 lens. It is absolutely awesome in clarity, and it is awesome in giving me good light collection. So the first bit of good or bad news, depending on how you look at it, is I'm going to need you to shoot in manual because your light meter is just not going to work with a lot of black and a little bit of color. So you're going to have to go over to manual. I want you to set your aperture as wide open, small a number as possible, and I want to try to see if you can get at least 150th of a second. So set your aperture wide open, 150th of a second for shutter speed, and then set your ISO to a point where you're going to get that kind of shutter speed. Do not be surprised if you're working at 800 or 1600 ISO. A little bit higher than that, you better have a good camera or you're going to get a lot of digital noise, especially in the backdrop. Couple other settings: white balance, daylight. I'm going to have my focus set to AI servo, and for the Nikon people that is continuous. And I'm going to have my white balance set to sunlight, and I may select just the center focus point. So that's my camera setting. How about we look at how we set up the various components to get some really neat pictures. So let's go for an adventure. The first thing we're going to look at is our source of smoke. I've taken a base to collect the ashes. It's fireproof. Simple mounting of a standard incense stick. You can buy them from Spencer's or lots of other places. I've just used this to mount it in a vertical format. I would suggest you try various different angles. The smoke comes off the incense at different manners at different angles, but pretty much so up off the ground so I don't have to bend over. Incense stick mounted on a base that will collect the ashes and obviously is fireproof. Now the next step in this process is to have a light source. I'm using a digital projector because it gives me a lot of versatility in terms of ability to manage light. They're an intense source. I know most people don't own them, but you can borrow them from work. You can borrow them from your social club or service club or school or somewhere. And so they're readily available if you just ask around. Now that's connected to my laptop over here, and with the laptop I'm using PowerPoint software. Now PowerPoint software has, if you right click in the box, you have format a background. So I use gradient style backgrounds that allow me to create a range of color that focuses in on the smoke. This is where I'm going to get my color from without having to go to Photoshop. So you can play with various colors, various ranges of background, but your light, I'm going to kill the room lights just for a second so you can see what is actually happening. Now the key to this is that your projector wants to focus at an angle so you don't actually have the results showing up in your camera. So you pick an angle, as shallow an angle as you can, that actually allows you to create the light in the smoke, but the light from the projector doesn't actually get behind the smoke. Now, as you see, what has happened, I first have had to turn off all the air conditioning. I've had to put a little kind of diverter on the cooling fan for the projector. But look at the wonderful color and lighting effects in the smoke. So now all I've got to do is get out my camera and to start capturing some pictures. One of the things you got to be careful about is breathing. And you just need to be patient and watch and wait until you get those cool patterns. The smoke starts rolling in on itself.